Hello, Musto006. We're back to continue on with the Mega Man 10 Let's Play Burning Run series. And I don't know about you, but I'm still feeling pumped up. So this time, we'll go after Pump Man. Ah yes, the obligatory water theme stage. What Mega Man game doesn't have one? Anyway, believe you missed the first couple of screens. There are some bolts you can grab if you want, but if like me you know where the holes in the floor are positioned, you can shortcut these screens rather nicely. And here's our main gimmick to the stage. These water, or probably more accurately sewage pipes, but hey, let's keep things clean and go with water, to prevent Mega Man from jumping to his full potential. Harmless enough here, but start combining with the pits, and I'm sure you can see where that idea is going to go. We also have Goop Mechs that actually hurt Mega Man but just cause him to sit around, and these Teddy wannabes that fit within the pipes and shoot the Mega Man if he can screen long enough. To be honest, the Goop Mechs are rather annoying, in the sense you have a very limited window to hit them, and predicting when they'll open up to give you the opportunity is tricky. Best advice I can give is to shoot the moment you see their eyes appear. Hopefully you'll take them out before they can goop you. And as predicted, stunted jumping over pits. Sidle up to the edge of the ledges, and you should be fine. 2 paths to pick, and for now, let's take the upper path. A solitary spider that shouldn't cause much alarm, before we reach another water pipes over pit section. Same advice as before, really. As long as you're close to the edges of the platforms before you jump for it, you should be fine. Do be patient with the Goop Mechs though. If you get gooped, wait around until it wears off. Attempting the platform on some of these narrow ledges whilst looking around is not advisable. And where possible, try to take the highest route you can. There's a chance you could always save yourself if you miss a jump. Not always though. And hey, you even get a couple of giant bolts for doing so. Now, Buster Only at least, you're highly unlikely to be able to take out all 3 of these enemies before they start firing at you. So I'd therefore focus your initial attention on the one that is slotted to the lowest pipe, you'll be jumping over there later, before it gets a chance to attack you. Then take out the highest one, whose shots are well within range, and lastly the far right one, whose shots are not well within range. And to be honest, I think taking the high route here is a mistake. Yeah, the lower one has a Goop Mech to deal with, but it's better than getting cheap rammed by the Telly wannabes. Like so. But hey, at least the game's nice enough to give me my health back. Now, as long as you're quick and take out the first enemy here, you should be able to time things out so you don't get sniped by the remaining one. In theory, nearly made a colossal mess of that, but at the very least, having 2 firing at you would of course be more problematic. The screen full of Goop Mechs that aren't particularly difficult to deal with, just more time consuming than anything. And don't bother mucking around with the third one. One last group of the Goop Mechs, and some more spiders. As long as you stay out of range of the spiders till you're ready to attack them, this screen isn't anything to worry about. And that's the level, with the left hand side there being where we would have emerged had we taken the lower path at the beginning. So anyway, it's time for Pump Man. Now this is not my best fight here, admittedly, and right from the get-go. But Pump Man surrounds himself with a water shield and jumps around the room toward Mega Man. You can jump up to 3 times before he'll send his water droplets hurtling at us, and then reform the shield. And that's it. That's all he does. The trick is to try to take out some of his shield before he dispenses with it, to reduce the chance that you'll get hit by the droplets. Regardless though, I find the best near guarantee, but never 100% foolproof as far as I can tell spot to stand, is underneath him. Doing that, however, requires that we stay close to Pump so that we can actually reach that spot quickly. And unfortunately, that increases the likelihood that we'll either run into Pump before he jumps, or have him land on us, as he did indeed do twice during this fight. Ouch. That looked kind of bad. And yes, it was. But a successful no damage fight is very much linked to a risk-reward strategy. You need to be close to him and take a few risks when he's jumping around, to be rewarded by having a far less random chance of getting sniped by wood droplets. But when it goes wrong, it doesn't half make you look a little silly. Anyway, for defeating Pump Man, we obtained the Water Shield. Don't groan. Yes, it's not a Water Shield weapon, and yes, it's not as good as Dual Satellite from Mega Man 9, but I genuinely believe it to be the second best shield weapon in classic Mega Man. It's actually very durable, and you can fling up to 8 water droplets across the screen. So it's not too shabby. leaving aside the not so great shot of the boss, only one, very cheap I might add, hit on the level. So all I need to do is have a good Rollmaster fight, right? Yeah, pretty much actually. So, welcome to the perfect run. And this actually turned out to be a pretty easy stage to complete. Main reason? There are two paths through the level. You just saw me take the upper path during my Let's Play, because I obviously wanted to show off both paths, and I knew I'd be taking the lower path during this perfect run. And the upper path is, in my opinion, much more difficult than the lower path, albeit still not awful, as hopefully my Let's Play version demonstrated. But at the very least, for perfect run purposes, I took the lower path and had a straightforward time. In fact, just the one outtake, getting up to Pumpman. And of course, since I haven't actually shown it off before, I'll be talking quite a bit from now on about the second path, and not just focusing on the outtakes. Or sorry, outtake, singular. So we're approaching the split path, and we'll take the lower route this time. First few screens just one long drop. If you position yourself a little bit away from the left-hand wall when you first get the opportunity, you'll breeze through them and avoid everything. Just be prepared to bear right when you get to the last screen to avoid landing on the spikes. The Octopus battery shouldn't cause you any trouble here, and it's your choice as to whether you want to bother taking them out, or just avoid them. Now for the last part of the screen, hop in a bubble, let it carry to the right, and once it pops, grab the ladder. Just take your time on this screen. Octopus batteries, if nothing else, have very predictable patterns, so just check which 2 points they'll move between, and take them out when a decent opportunity opens up. Make sure you take these shrimp out as soon as possible. These things move quickly, are somewhat awkward to hit, and can be a huge pain thanks also in part to the spikes and the fact you're getting sucked to the right, which is disorientating. And this is actually where I suffered my one and only level outtake. For the remainder of the screen, just be careful not to get encased in any bubbles, which will of course carry you onto the ceiling spikes. But this is pretty simple, as there's plenty of time between when the bubbles emerge. So, the last screen before the paths meet up, just outside the boss gate. Bunch of Octopus batteries once again, so same advice. Take a moment to observe where they travel before rushing in, and take them out when you get a decent opportunity. You really shouldn't have any trouble with this room. And as promised, that's where the paths meet up. As for Pumpman, he's simple enough to beat, but not all that simple to get a perfect run. Because my strategy revolves around standing under Pump when he disperses the water shield, which by the way doesn't seem to be completely foolproof in itself, I need to stay in close proximity to him at all times. That means consistently needing to time out walking underneath him when he jumps, which of course can be difficult to judge given the added hitbox of his shield. And unfortunately, this is exactly what I screwed up on a couple of times. That being said though, he's not super difficult, and it did only take me 3 attempts to end up with a successful fight. So again, for the difficulty analysis, let's take a look at the harder version of the Pumpman fight. If you can actually call it harder in the first place. He seems to jump a bit quicker from what I can tell, but funnily enough, I find that makes it easy to avoid him landing on you, as you can just keep moving, as opposed to stuttering slightly on the normal mode version. And sure, here's a new attack, where he can pump at you after he lands from dispersing the water shield, but once you know he does that, it's so simple to avoid. Just jump over it when he flings it at you, and jump over it again when it returns to him. All the while, he hasn't got his shield around him, and you can drain his health bar much quicker. Seriously, I genuinely think this is an easier fight on hard mode than on normal mode. And hey, would you look at that? A no damage fight. Another stage, and a water one of that out of the way. All in all, it's a pretty easy one too. It actually only took 10 minutes for me to get a successful perfect run, so less time than Blade, and a lot quicker than what I'd expected. Naturally, therefore, not too many outtakes, just the 3, although Pumpman himself ended 2 of my attempts. And that means the level only tripped me up the once, so it's got to be fairly straightforward, right? Well, yes, but you do need to keep your wits about you. Water stages, and underwater section in particular, are notorious for getting the player to make uncomfortable jumps with spikes, pits, and enemies just waiting to knock you into said pits or spikes all over the place. That being said, given the stage offers you the choice, I would strongly recommend taking the lower underwater path rather than the upper out of the water path if trying to pull off a perfect run. I think the lower path is much easier. A lot of the level though, at least for me anyway, boils down to being able to take out the enemies quickly before you end up in very uncomfortable situations. And no enemy does that apply more so than the shrimps. These things are annoying as ever, thanks to them trying to home in on you, so get rid of them as soon as safely possible. That's not to say that the spiders that we also saw in Blade stage, and the telly pillars that shoot at you if they fill the gaps in the pipes can't be troublesome, because they can, but I generally find you either have slightly more time to take these out before they start causing problems, or you can make good use of the terrain to give yourself the advantage. The other enemies, namely the goop-slinging Mets, whose goop projectiles don't actually hurt you, just make you slippery underfoot, and the octopus batteries are pretty easy to deal with. Word of caution though, if you do get gooped, try if possible to wait for Mega Man to gain full control of his momentum again, as attempting to deal with other enemies whilst not sliding into the various pits can be tricky. As for Pumpman, he's pretty easy to defeat, but actually a little tricky to emerge completely unscathed from. He has a simple enough pattern in which he surrounds himself with a water shield, jumps around between 1 and 3 times before firing off whatever droplets remain in his shield in every direction. But if you don't deplete his water shield, it can be difficult to find the safe spots when the droplets disperse. That means taking out part of the shield quickly will be very helpful. If you can destroy some of the droplets, you'll make it much easier on yourself to avoid them when they get released from Pump's shield, though success in this regard is somewhat dependent on how many times Pump jumps. However, regardless of how much you can deplete the shield, it does seem like a good safe spot to avoid this attack is directly underneath Pumpman. I wouldn't swear on this being foolproof, but it is at least what I try to aim for. Both of my outtakes on Pump were actually a result of failing to walk underneath him when he just jumped from side to side, so I would say don't underestimate this part of the battle either. His shield can make pulling these maneuvers off awkward, especially since you can't slide in this game. All in all though, he's not overly difficult, but he'll certainly cause you a few problems here and there. I couldn't possibly complain about only 10 minutes spent and 3 outtakes up on this stage, so I remained in a very happy state of mind. But taking everything into account, I actually give Pump a 2 out of 10. Yes, that's right, 2 out of 10, not 1 out of 10. If my 3 outtakes had been on the level with none on the Robot Master, yes, this would have scored a 1. But as I have consistently done throughout the other games, I am giving failures on Robot Masters more weight of difficulty than failures on the level. It takes more time to reach Robot Masters, obviously, and typically they're going to be more difficult to beat than simply getting past any one particular section of the level. So, 2 out of 10 it is. Either way though, not a difficult stage, provided you take the easier underwater path, with Pumpman providing the greatest challenge, but even he wasn't all that bad for me at the end of the day. And with that, 2 Robot Masters taking out so far. Don't know where that came from. Tune in again to find out which one I'll be taking on next. Until then, cheerio.